Yes. How are we doing, peeps? Just got in. Literally just got in. Hope you're doing well. Welcome along. How you doing? Hope that your mindset, I say it all the time, and it's ironic. I hope that your mindset is in a good place. Unfortunately, we're in a position where we have to work this out pretty much by ourselves. This is a one man, one woman mission, without a doubt. Somebody's jumped in. Hello there. Welcome along. It's sad. I was in work today listening to Sharon doing a live, walking her dogs, and she was talking about an incident, or rather a funeral, and then backtracking as to why that funeral was happening. And don't know if anyone knows it on this channel, but I done a Facebook stream with Sharon last week, and it's on my BitChute channel. We were talking about various topics, and someone else was supposed to come in, but unfortunately they couldn't make it. So it was going to be a bit of a juicier stream, but we kept to the topic in hand. And Sharon mentioned about one of her family members, I do believe, if I've got the story right, was just sat in the back garden and heard a scream from somebody, whether it was male or female, I don't know. And it turns out that that scream was a neighbour, a family friend, you could actually argue, a neighbour. I think the parent had actually come across the body of the son, the boy in the family, and putting two and two together, doing a red line, red dotting exercise. This must be the event. This must be the funeral that she's talking about. And when she spoke about it, it was pretty hard to listen to, because what she was talking about was her family members, which are clearly younger than her, listening to a parent discovering the body of the child that has committed suicide, and I don't know how. So you've got different things going on there, haven't you? You've got people that are affected, impacted, compounded, and that's without talking about the individual, the person that's done what they've done. And when you think of it that way, it's not an individual thing. The ramifications of this permeate through families, friends, which will then compound into more bouts of depression, which will increase the likelihood of further suicides. It is such a sad story. I mean, when Sharon was talking about it today, the guy's only young, in his mid-20s, I do believe. And you think, the life, the world is there for him, or was there for him. The world could have been the oyster. Hard to think it in these times, hence the bouts of depression, the spectrum of depression that no doubt we're all in at one point or another. Some might be even stuck in it. But you just can't fathom that such a young life with so much to offer to the world, himself, and possibly a new family that could have been born from that seed. You think, man. But then we've got to remember, haven't we, guys, that statement: the benefits outweigh the risks. And Honestly, it's not nice. Yes, Angel, how are we doing? It's not nice when you look at it. And that just means overruling any bit of negativity, any cause and effect, because the benefits outweigh the risks. And it is such a sad time at this time. The only glimmer that any individual I feel has got is themselves right now. Yourselves. It has to start with an individual level. Try and work your way through what you're feeling. And it's not easy. When you see a young lad with so much to offer and he's felt that there's no other option, like with anyone else in that situation, it's a very personal thing. It's very compounding within your own mind. So you're not even thinking about other people, I guess, at that time. Because it's too heavy. To think of family members that are going to be left with that memory, partners, surely you're not thinking about that because what is going on is incomputable for you. I guess there's a malfunction there where you just can't cope. So what do you do? What do you do? I can't say I'm trained. I can't say I know what to say at a time like this. Come on live and yeah, this is what you do. No, I can't. I think anyone now with a modicum of intelligence will know that you've just got to take it one day at a time. You've got to work on yourself as well as what you are seeing and interpret it in a positive way. You've got to keep shining that light. That is the only option. Easier said than done. And no doubt, whoever's listening, whoever's watching this, has had bouts of all kinds of highs and lows. So it's understandable you're not on your own. The world is going through that currently. So it's just a shame when you hear of such a young lad with so much to offer for the world that felt that there was no other option, no way out. And then when you look and you think, well, dude, if you only realize that you are not on your own, it's not as personal as you might think. I mean, who knows the ultimate reasons, but we've got many, many, many contributing factors. And that's the bottom line. Could have been anything that triggered that off. But the worldwide low that we're all currently going through is the biggest contributing factor in most people's lives in terms of the depression declining into actual thoughts of taking your own life. Handling it all. I guess that, innit? It's a learning curve. So my heart goes out to this family in particular. I have no idea the name. Um, Sharon, I do believe, is going to the funeral tomorrow. I hope she'll pass on the love from all at Children's Matter.news. See, I've got a daughter at 20 years of age. And to think, I don't want to, but it's a reality. To think that my daughter would feel that without seeing out the rest of her life, without learning the highs and lows, now I'm just going to check out now. As well as maybe feeling that that's a get out and I'll feel better once that's done. It's what you leave behind, isn't it? And right now, I think we all need each other. Never mind family members, close bonding. Never mind frivolous arguments over your political decisions, thoughts, over currently where you're sitting. Doesn't that all fall away when you hear of a story like this? And this is why online really does my head in at times, guys. Because I think people who go online, they forget the true bigger picture. Too quick to hit out, too quick to take the piss, too quick to not acknowledge people's emotional state and compound it with more shit on them, which creates the divide and conquer, the to and fro. Like Dolly says, the negative ping pong. And it's like, do you have to experience something like this to sober your ass up? Is it that big a deal if someone's rinsing you out online or if someone's saying something that you are diametrically opposed to? Is it that big a fucking deal? Are we forgetting what is important here? Yes, Rob. Sorry, I was going off on one then. How we diddling? I just want anyone who watches this to know that you matter. Reach out. There are people who care. You're so right, Angel. People that matter. It slapped me like a brick when I was in work, just listening and taking on board. And then recalculating that within my family. Seeing if that was to happen, if I was to come home and discover that one of my kids, or I get a phone call. I mean, yesterday, my wife's best friend had to leave work early because her son, which I know well, young Cole, smashing lad, great character, rum, but a great character, he got run over. So why and where's and who's done it, who's to blame? Yeah, we can all go there and should. But all of a sudden, shit gets real. So things can just change within a heartbeat. And I think we've got to keep remembering that no matter what we feel, we've got to keep remembering that we're all souls, we're all vessels, we're all here for such a small amount of fucking time. So we need to get real with what the purpose is of what you want to be here for, or at least if you don't know that, what do you want out of it? And part of that is probably being light as you can with yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously. Easier said than done. I'm not saying I'm qualified to say it, but I'm going to say it. This is what I've learned over my 51 years. And try and be as bright with people. That, for me, gets me out the lows. I mean, there'll be times when I feel so depressed, right? So low. I've had to deal with this for 5 years when I wasn't expecting it. If you want to know how many times I really feel I've hit depression doing this because of this, I can't count. The one good thing I've had, just like Angel said, is someone to be there, to be able to words to, be able to just relay my thoughts, my feelings. Because when it gets in there, don't want to go anywhere. It wants to stay there, and I've got to work it out. And by working it out, it means I've got to do things and extend myself. When in reality, maybe someone could just give that little bit of helping hand, a little bit of advice that might just derail that fucking negativeness that you're in, a hobby. And it's hard. Good for you, Angel. Good for you. It's a question of what people utilize. I mean, it's such a personal thing, this, isn't it? It's not for anyone to say that will work across the board. Everyone finds their own little bit of solace in something. Might be within the partner, the family, might be their pet, it might be going for a walk, might be going on your decks, it might be like Rob doing his art, might be like Dolly doing her arts and crafts, it might be just meditating, it might be just talking to others. There's a multitude of things that the individual should look at in what makes them whole, what would recoil them back to a safe place. Like Angel says, I mean, the worst thing you can do is take it all on your shoulders. There's too much going on for that. We all need people to talk to. Luckily, I've got plenty of people around me that are positive, high vibrational people, and we can chat. We can chat on low shit, and we're all right. But we work it out, and we bounce different ideas and theories. And like anyone else, it's, you know what it's like. Oh, I didn't think of it like that. Oh, maybe I shouldn't be so homed in on that. So, you know, and then little bits of advice just recalibrate your mind. This may have already happened with this chap in particular. I don't know. I really don't know. I just feel so regretful. And this is the article that's behind there. Plan to prevent suicides across Nottinghamshire as rates in Bassett Law are highest in the county. And I've only picked this out because it was just there. I mean, when I actually tapped this topic in, it was coming up all over the place. Suicide rates rising, suicide rates rising, suicide. It's not here, but it is here. You know, and it's almost like, did you not expect this? Do you not expect this? So why now plans to prevent? You're not preventing very much at this moment in time. You got young people, young, youthful generation that want to end it. They've not even started. Mid-20s is nothing. The mid-20s, I wasn't even living in the mid-20s. I was full of fucking anger and I thought it was the dog's bollocks. I'd not even grown up. It was only when I had my first child at the age of 30, I really, what the hell? Everyone's different. There's very mature people at very early ages. But that's my journey. Yes, Lee, I'm Brett. I'm Great Brit. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing well, staying positive, because we've got to. We've got to. If not for your family members, for yourself. Yourself first before anybody else. You know when things are not right within yourself. When you feel that, look at what's happening. Give yourself a bit of space if need be. Talk to people. Do things that make you feel better. Collective different ways of looking at it. I mean, no one knows the answer. I can't say I know the answer. All I'm talking about now is what I've personally gone through within journeys. And I think of the impact that this will have further afield. When I speak to the ladies in Australia, it's the same thing. How can we see ourselves out of it? Forward projection, things don't look good. And there, it's reality. But it's enough to send someone over the edge. You just lost your job because of what's going on. You're being ostracized by family members because of what's going on. Wonder how often that's happened. It's led to someone not being able to cope with the new family dimensions, with families now turning on each other. So, and I think, man, for all these people that just want to castigate people, vilify people because they want their own bodily autonomy, hang your fucking head in shame. Because look what impact it's having on people with your arrogant arse, telling people what they should be doing, not giving people any freedom of their own mind and body. Great Brit. Could be wrong, but aren't arty types prone to depression and stuff? Don't know where I got that from. Yes, mate. Yes. I found that, personally speaking, and I see it in other people that are creative, that are more open, that are more empaths. The propensity of depression of an empath has got to be higher than someone who is not empathic. Dolly was telling me in an interview that when she first really woke up about Shizzle, she cried for like nearly 2 days. She couldn't stop. I mean, it's understandable because, man, hasn't the dynamics just changed all of a sudden? What you thought was innocent and natural occurring and organic, as in life and your development, you find no manipulation, exploitation from the word go. And that is every individual globally. When you're talking about elite agendas, when you're talking about technocrats, when they want to dictate and socially engineer, that's a slap. Then you've got to reconfigure, how can you produce a positive life, knowing that every aspect of your life is being manipulated. You are being gamed from the moment that your parents signed that birth certificate. It's a lot. Currently, with what's going on, even more. So I totally agree with you, Great Brit. I can't say what it is. I can only say that personally, people who are creative tend to have other aspects to their life, other channels that are possibly open, but at the same time, that openness maybe breeds some form of vulnerability. Like I say, mate, me being a creative person, I would like to think I'm an empath. I don't do this shit if I'm not an empath. You know what I mean? If I don't care about other people, if I don't look at someone in the eyes and go, man, I feel what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Not just, oh, right, well, that's your life, I'm all right. Soon as you switch your camera off, soon as you go home, you just had that interview, you feel it. My wife could be talking here at times, and I'm not even listening. because I've just got tons of shit rolling around my head. Maybe you have interviewed who I'm talking about, maybe an article I've just read, maybe all of it all at once. And the wife's like, da, 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 and I'm like, because, and then I feel, well, there's part of that that's inorganic because you're left there kind of mentally and spiritually stunned, where other people who are not thinking about it, getting on, yeah, da, 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 and man, so you have to work yourself out. You have to. And I mean, Great Britain will say it. He knows the amount of different people in this YouTube that have lost it. Gone. They've shown elements of depression, anxiety on the street in their content. I've had wobbles, I'm not going to deny that. And that's just little old me doing a stupid thing on YouTube. When you're talking about real life situations, man, I never listen to the wife. It's quite normal. Oh, I'd love to meet your wife, Great Brit. I'm telling you, me and your wife are going to get on like that because honestly, she's going to give me the dirt and I've got dirt. And it's like, fucking hell, this is just like an information crossover that is just like beautiful. I suggest realistic, not idealistic, Great Brit. We observe and reflect. That's what we should do, Rob. That's what people should do. But clearly, people find it hard. Can't say what it is. It's for them to, say ultimately what they find hard about it. But I think Sharon mentioned something earlier. Knowing thyself. Knowing thyself is a shit journey. A real shit journey. The only good thing I can say about it is when you get to the other end and you feel that you have a better understanding of yourself, you've hit through the ceiling. Then all of a sudden your attitude changes towards other people and yourself. You start opening up to more people. I felt not blaming people. It's not about being pissed off with the so-called 99%. But ultimately realizing that who you are and you're only just a dot and we all are many dots that form this beautiful place. As much as some people can't interpret it, as much as someone will tell me to fuck off as I'm walking up the street for very little. In many ways, I've still got to love that person, even though I want to tell him to do one as well. Knowing thyself a little bit, and that is still a lesson I am learning. I'm learning, but at least I realize that. Analyzing my positives, analyzing my negatives, and being big enough and having the balls enough to admit when you did fuck up or when you've handled a conversation where, as much as you might have had justification to be in an altercation, you've got to acknowledge that you're part in that altercation and not just say, well, because I've done it in that manner, I'm justified because of this. No. Analyze where you maybe went wrong. Makes you the better person. I've done it. I've had Barney's on the street and I've come home and I've ranted to my daughter or my wife and I'm trying to justify it. Yeah, the guy, and then I'm like, well, I didn't need to say that. And I didn't need to come across that way to that person. You know what I mean? So then I'm like, right, give yourself a slap here. Hope they're doing the right thing as well. Hope they're self-reflecting on everything. So yeah, man, it's important to do that, Rob. without a doubt. Knowing thyself, and it means looking in the goddamn mirror, and it might not be pretty. Do a poetry night, Lee. Yes. Oh, let's get to Lee then. What's Lee saying? Also, the fact we brought up with films, unrealistic news stories, and then suddenly you're in the world and nothing is like what you have been told. It is, mate, innit? Wizard of Oz. Not only is that a wicked film, but the pulling back of the curtain, it so describes. It's the engineering of the media and Hollywood and the music industry that creates this unrealistic world that people feel that they've got to climb towards. And once they get there, it's going to make them whole. And the moment they make that conscious decision, that's when they're shitting on people spiritually, morally, and ethically in order to get there in one way or the other. And it's horrible. Horrible when you look at it. I don't want to deal because I've done over somebody else in order to get it. I don't want a Hollywood blockbuster contract if I know that that guy is facilitating in fucking couching and abuse of women, but because he's that you can shove it right up your rectum. It's called ethics, it's called morals, and that'll be a bad pill to take. That, you know what, I've spent 30 years trying to get to Hollywood, I just realised there are a bunch of fucking pedos that run it. Yeah, so morally, what do? Go and work in a frigging fruit and veg shop. At least you ain't going to be run by pedos, or at least hope not. But make that moral decision. Don't just go along with the program because you want to be a big star or you want that lucrative contract. Because spiritually, that money, that fame ain't going to do nothing for you, because look at the way you've had to get it. Man. Real life ain't a statistic. This is all true in varying degrees. You are, mate. Real life is not something that you can just look at a news headline and go, research says. You know, it's like, come on. You can't believe everything you read. I mean, that's the first thing they say, isn't it? They don't seem to say it anymore because they're throwing out all kinds of shit and they're just saying, believe it, believe it, believe it. Anyone who disbelieves it, cut them off. You know what I mean? That ain't the case. You've got to go back to what a human is. Using intuition. Maybe we've got to go back. Indigenous behavior. You know what I mean? I'm currently working with Jewel and Donks, and I'm going to be doing a video about what's currently going on with the Aborigines over there. It's fucking horrible. It's like genocide all over again. They had it first time round when they colonised the fucking place, and now they're doing it again because they are the poverty stricken, they are the lowest, and it's like in this country, who's affected most by what's going on? Working class, the people on the breadline, the people who feel difficulty in articulating themselves because of what they've got, the upbringing, the products that it's made them and the family and everything else. It's a fucking hard struggle. And they're the ones who get it the worst. So I'm doing this video on these guys and it's like, man, spiritually, Aborigines got it. They're intuitive. They work from the earth. They don't need a fucking headline. They don't need the sat-nav to get to the nearest bush. They know what to go on in. And it's like what Rob is saying. We've now got to go back to indigenous ways within our mindset. Go back to who you are, what you represent. You go back to your instincts, your gut, your intuition. What you want, you project out. You'll get that fucker back. And if you don't get it back off that individual, see you later. Gravitate towards people who are, you know what I mean? Yes, who's he on? Yes, Mike. Late again. Don't worry, mate. Better late than never. It's what they say, isn't it? Great Brit. I think I've watched him once or twice, Lee. I'm not sure who you mean there, sir. Missed comments. Hello, Church 11. Oh, 11. I'm not sure what you're alluding to there, Rob, but if you're on about like YouTube promoting schisms, they are in the very actions by allowing certain streams on, and anyone who just wants to tell the truth and help people, no, but they'll let a stream transpire over here that means that being abuse being thrown backwards and forwards like it was a freaking snowball fight. And what does that do? I mean, looking at the things that I've covered in the past, going back to the suicide, some of the ladies that I've interviewed, I'm not saying they were close to suicide, but just imagine how low it would have took them. And who knows, it could have been any trigger from that point when you feel that you can't even go online without people digging you out, without finding you, without abusing you, without making sure that you feel like shit. Some people are not strong enough to go, fuck you. And that's fair enough. Everyone's got strengths and weaknesses, so that compounds. And you think, man, this is just one big shite show, innit? You are left on your own as an individual to sort this out, not be a product of this. Keep yourself high vibrational as much as you can. Don't become a product at any point if you can. With whatever interaction, whether it be online or real life. I follow my gut, my heart, my oath, and faith. It's like basic, innit? Basic. Don't follow what your mate says. Even if he's doing things the right way. You can be inspired, but you still have to be internal in order to bring out your qualities by adhering to what's right. What do you want back? You don't want to be treated like shit. You don't want to be abused. So why do that to other people? It's funny because they're losing the ability just to be civil with one another. You know what I mean? And city dwellings playing a big part in that. Cities are getting ever so more congested now. Street crime and, general attitudes of people not having community and all that kind of stuff. People are losing emotion for one another. I mean, I walk the streets, right, and I look forward. When I'm riding, I look forward. When I'm walking, I look forward. When I'm sat on the bus, I look forward. I people look and I just look forward. I never look down and I'm not, the amount of people I see that won't look at you. If they look at you, they're either looking at you sinister or they'll just look away. And I think, where is the love? We can all stereotype, we can all racial profile, we can all feel that we've got the cut of someone's jib. Well, what fucking right have you got to do that? Who are you? Whatever happened, just to, you all right, morning? Whatever happened? Has life beat the shit out of us that much that we're not going to do that anymore? Because that's how it feels. And it's quite refreshing because on a site that I'm working on at the moment, the amount of guys, just normal. We all have to go through these bullshit little gates and we're all fucking crap, little boundaries. And I'll hold it open, they'll hold it open, and all you're hearing, nice one, mate, cheers. We're all letting each other part, yeah, nice one, yeah, morning. Everyone's got their own little cliques and stuff. I'm not saying that it's a massive site. I'm not saying everyone does that, but the vast majority. And it's like the simple things. Being at work and just looking up, having a crack for 20 seconds with a guy rather than just standing there looking at him and emotionally switch off because I couldn't give a fuck, I don't know it. You know, it it helps, doesn't it? Opening up, polite smile. I've As I'm walking past, I'll just glance at a woman who's walking a dog. I'll get variable reactions. You get some that look at you and think, don't look at me. You get some that will look like, don't know what to make of that. And you get some that just go, hi, you all right, morning, morning. There's a fucking lovely woman that when I was going to hide, every morning, a bright little smile on her face. She's walking with a little dog, dead attentive, walking round, mid-20s, mid-30s, maybe older, I don't know. Every time riding past, just looked, morning. And it got after about the fifth or sixth occasion, she'd be smiling 20 foot before I seen her. And I'm like, you all right? And it just broke that ice. Never spoke. We never spoke. Just pass each other as she goes back. And it's like, man, that's so much better than just fucking cutting each other off, innit? And I've actually found out that I've seen her walking. She's a twin sister. Mad, because I had twins in my family. 22. It's all mad, symbiotic in maybe some way, maybe nothing at all, maybe overthinking it. But man, I just love people. And I just wish we could get that back. And then maybe we wouldn't have what we're seeing currently. I actually was near suicide a few years ago, and it's a very hard place to come back from. You're numb to people being nice and trying to help because you can't look or feel what they're trying to do. So it's an internal, personal solitude. Must be horrible. So the question is, Lee, what worked for you then, mate? What worked for you? Because you come across as a positive, proactive individual right now. So you've gone through it. There was a lady who commented on Sharon's video, and she basically mentioned that she's attempted suicide 5 times. Don't know how old the lady is, but she says the first attempt was at 18. So, we're all very close to that happening if the conditions are right, if the relationships are right. And when I say right, I mean negative, that would lean you towards that. And particularly not knowing thyself and trying to strengthen your mind. But I've not had them thoughts, so I'm not trying to tell anyone. I'm just trying to give people words of advice. But like Lee says, you're not listening to people when you're in that zone. So I guess the first thing is, then, Lee, try and listen to people. Try and listen to people. If people are offering the support, try and accept it. Try and look at it. Try not to get affected by the positivity and see that as a further way of getting into that decline even more. Yeah, mate. Yeah, certainly. Get Sharon to jump in as well. Once she's got over this, I guess. We can talk about this. It's a massive talking point because it's reality. Like Rob says, it's reality now. It's not idealistic. It's like, this is the shit. When I look at YouTubers that are still doing negative stuff on YouTube, I kind of look and smile and think, I'm glad I'm not on here anymore. I'm glad I'm not doing streaming. I'm glad I'm not really. I'm doing this now, kind of and I'll always support children's matter, and I'll jump in and do whatever. But it's not there anymore because I think in many ways woke people need to wake the fuck up. And if they're still in that quagmire, then in many ways, if you're not handling it right, then what you're actually doing, you're actually making the whole situation worse. So if you go in there with big balls and start swinging it around in a street, ain't working. And the people I've tackled, these also big characters that just want to do negative, man, I just look how sad it is. Look how sad it is. When I don't know a geezer in his mid 20s, but for whatever reason decides, Lee's just said he's had thoughts of that in the past. There was another person in the comment section. That's more important than coming on here, swinging it around, trying to feel like you're 10 men and you're dead hard. And it's like, man, maybe you need to look in the mirror. Maybe you've got bouts of depression and your way of getting over it is coming out on streams and swinging it. So why don't you get over yourself? Why don't you know thyself and come back strong and actually help people? Because that's the bigger and better thing to do with going online, is it not? Yeah, mate, I'd be up for that. I'd definitely be up for that. We can talk about that. And we can have a normal, rational, intelligent conversation about this. That hopefully people, if they're watching it in a low point in their life, if they've just heard some bad news, it's just put them on the floor. And it's like, man, I'm on my own. I ain't got many mates, whatever. People here. There's people here that's been through it. I can empathize with anyone that's mentally on the floor. I've got, in my family, this history of mental illness. So don't think that I don't understand. That's why I guess I'm nudged towards being an empath because I see it. I see it from living on a council estate, having the effects of that. Seeing friends of mine that have had all a decent life, but turned into smackheads, bagheads, prostitutes, died, products. So if that's not qualification, I don't know what the fuck is. Robbing a mankini. Yes, I would love to see that, mate. Love to see Rob in his mankini. With your beard's that long, it'd probably cover it all anyway. You know what I mean? He's got a hairy mankini. Come on, Great Brit. Come on. And listen, I'm not a grass, but I've not forgot that little comment you put out. Stadium of Shite, remember? Referring to the Stadium of Light. And also the little backhanded compliment that you gave. It's the biggest crowd they've seen in years. That shit stuck, mate. And that's going to be brought out. Like I'm saying, I better never, ever get into a conversation with your wife, mate. We'll be throwing dirt left, right, and centre. Sorry, Great Brit. Has your appetite gone now too, Angel? Man, what? We thoughts of that? Jesus. Everyone's fasting all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Look, come on now. We're all going to send bouts of depression over to the Isle of Man here. Sorry, Rob. Let me correct myself. I'm sure you look fucking hot, scrum diddly umptious in a mankini. And I can just see now with the wind just breezing that beard like a fucking, from side to side. I can just see it, mate. I can just see the women all over you, mate. And there's no kissing rectums that has to happen here, really, because The thought of doing that is probably worse than thinking of you in a mankini. I don't do hairy arses. I don't do arses. Certainly. Particularly kissing him. Beard blowing in the wind. It's right, isn't it? And each time it blows away, it's showing meat and two veg. Oh, they're gone. Meat and two veg. Oh, they're gone. You know what I mean? If you want my money and you think I'm sexy. The wife's a mank. She'd kill me if she'd heard what I say on here. Dude, I've got all that shit backed up, Great Brit. And she's a fellow Mancunian. Sorry, dude. I'm sorry. That's my trump card, that, isn't it? That's my get out of jail free card. When I'm in the bunker, 20 miles underneath the frigging jail, that's what I provide. And Great Brit will do anything to get me out of that shit because he knows the consequences of him not doing. Trump. Rob, I think we know. I think we know what's going to raise more money, mate. Innit? A painting or Rob in a mankini. You know what, Rob? Maybe you could go into business, dude. You know how you have naked butlers and shit like that? You could do it with your beard, your ponytail, and your mankini. I think you'd kill it, mate. I think there's an avenue there that's not being explored. And from the sounds of it, you've got your first fucking customer in Angel. And even I'd hire you. I'd hire you for the night. Yeah, go make me a brew, Rob. Yeah, Rob, get me a bob and cream, yeah? And listen, just be careful. Oh, God, Rob, I think this mankini idea is going to be a flyer, dude. You're going to be off. See, Angel's on it. She's on it. Tell you, I'd book you, mate. You've got 2 bookings here straight away. Rob and his magical mankini. Oh, pack it in. Oh. I can't get Rob and his mankini out of my bleeding head now. I know, you know what, mate, isn't it? Innit? If it's not robbing his mankini or seductively blowing his beard all over the place, then it's a dicky bow tong tong, innit? Mate, you're just a sex symbol. You're a fucking sex symbol. Own it. Know thyself, Rob. It's not my fault, is it? It's not my fault that I get visions of you roaming round in a tongue-to-tongue and mankinis. You shouldn't look so bloody good, should you? That's all I'm saying. So I'm going to get going, guys. Got to get my bath, get my stuff together. Big up to Sharon and Cater. Keep doing the sterling work. As ever, the moderators on the channel, big up yourselves. Great Brit, Lee, Rob, and his magical mankey. But up. Sorry, mate. I'm keeping quiet. Why are you keeping quietly? Is that because you've got a mankini yourself? Let's go get it out. Come on. Come on. We need to talk about our shit, don't we? I ain't got a mankini. I've got a dicky bow tong tong. I ain't got a mankini though. I know they're laughing in there. What are you laughing at? Oh no. Don't talk about mankinis online. Oh no. I'm gonna get going. before I get thrown out my own house. So, oh, come on, Lee. Come on, Lee. Let's do a mankini night. How about that? Mankini live stream. Yeah, well, no matter what, man, I think the prospect of a man in a mankini is a scary prospect. I don't think it looks good on any man. I think his autonomy tells me that you shouldn't be wearing something so close to you, dude, because now you've just exposed yourself. And now, depending on the temperature, is depending on how much masculinity you've got. I'm getting off. I'm going. It's getting stupid, Phils. Next thing, I'll be talking about Marley and what he found in the woods. And I don't want to be going there. Yes, Angel. Nice. Good chat. Hopefully a serious message to it, but we've ended it well. Stay safe, brothers and sisters. Please get help and support if you're feeling low about anything in life, and try and keep smiling no matter what, and don't compound it all to yourself, because guarantee it, there's many people around you that feel anxiety, so take a leaf out of their book, what gets them out of it, that's sometimes a good thing to do as well. So yes, guys, thank you for jumping on. Remember where we're at, childrensmatter.news. Please like and share. I'll hopefully be checking you this weekend. Hopefully get together with Sharon online, catch up with her, what happened with the gig, and if she wants to talk about anything else. And hopefully we'll bring up one or two topics that are relative to the channel as well. So thanks a lot, everyone. Later all, as Lee says, I love you all, even the pissing haters. Stay safe.